Hello again and welcome to Astronomy Spotlight for December 2020. This month we have three topics to discuss. One, the great conjunction of Jupiter and Saturn, the winter solstice, and finally the best meteor shower of the year, the Geminids. First off, the Geminids. The Geminid meteor shower is usually the best shower of the year overall. It is probably not as well known as its more famous summertime counterpart, the Perseids, which occurs in mid-August, because of two basic reasons. First, it's in mid-December, and second, it's in mid-December. It's cold. And therefore, a lot of people don't even think about going out for hours to watch the sky for meteors. But you'll be amply rewarded if you do. Now, this year, the Geminids peak on the evening of December 13th, and that carries over into the early morning hours of December 14th. So what you want to do is you will want to obviously dress quite warmly. Bring some hot beverage like either coffee if you're planning on being up for a while, or maybe hot chocolate in a thermos. Stay warm, I guess, is the key point. Bring a sleeping bag and preferably a reclining lawn chair so you can actually lay back and enjoy the best view of the entire sky that you can get. The good news is for this shower, and it's been one of the few times we can actually say this year, the Geminid shower in 2020 will have no moon at all in the sky for the entire night. So automatically you will be able to see more meteors than you would with the moon in the sky. The radiant point of the Geminid shower is actually quite near the star Castor. Castor is the second brightest star in Gemini, and of course you've got Castor and Pollux. Pollux is going to be the brighter of the two stars. So the radiant is near Castor, which means if you were to plot back the tracks of all the meteors you see, they would all appear to be coming from that point, near Castor. Now, shooting stars, falling stars. I hear this a lot, especially when we get to good meteor showers. First off, stars do not fall, and they do not shoot. If they did, chances are we would not be here right now. The sun is a star. Can you imagine the sun falling or shooting? No. So a shooting star is actually properly called a meteor. A meteor is a tiny bit of dust or a very small pebble-sized object. Most meteor showers originate from the dusty path left over from comets' tails. And as the comet sweeps through the inner solar system and the Earth passes through that dusty path, we see a meteor shower. However, the Geminid meteor shower actually originates from an asteroid. We think it comes from asteroid 3200 Phaethon, and this asteroid apparently started to break up. Pieces of this asteroid just kind of came apart, and that causes the shower that we see every mid-December. However, somewhat unexpectedly perhaps, we're actually seeing more of this more meteors per hour than we usually did back in, say, the 80s and 90s. So now, instead of 80 or so per hour, you can expect to see about 120 per hour. That's roughly 2 per minute. So not a bad number at all. This shower also produces some nice fireballs and some very colorful meteors as well. One of the nice things about the Geminid shower is that it begins earlier than nearly all other meteor showers. It begins before midnight, say before 10 p.m. in fact. It still peaks later on after midnight when Gemini is actually at its highest in the sky, but you don't have to wait till 3 o'clock in the morning to see a pretty good display with this particular shower. So what you want to do is you want to face east in the direction of the constellation Gemini, and you will want to sort of keep your eye in that one area of the sky. You'll definitely want to keep your eyes moving very slowly around the sky, because again, meteors, as I've said before, will be visible in any part of the sky. But if it is a Geminid meteor, they will all appear to be traced back to that point near Castor in Gemini. So the best thing you can do is to get away from city lights. Street lights in particular are very bad for meteors. So if you can get away into a dark place, away from city lights, there's going to be no moon, so that'll be, of course, an added advantage. Lay back on the ground, get a sleeping bag or a lawn chair that reclines, and look around the sky, and you should not be disappointed if the weather cooperates. Now, the next topic I want to talk about is the winter solstice, which occurs this year on December 21st, and it is at 7:30 a.m. 7:30 in the morning is when the winter solstice occurs in 2020. You might ask, what is the significance? Well, the significance is that on the winter solstice, you have the day with the least amount of daylight. In other words, it is the shortest day of the year. It is also sometimes referred to as the December solstice because it is only the winter solstice in the northern hemisphere. In the southern hemisphere at this time, it is actually the summer solstice. So, but whatever you want to call it, its significance to us is that it is the shortest day of the year. Now, I'm sometimes asked, what does solstice mean? Well, it actually means sun still. And what this means is that the sun actually appears to stop or pause in its southward motion for a day or two before it begins on its northward track and will bring us spring and summer, and of course longer days. Now the third topic I want to talk about is the Great Conjunction of 2020. It is called a Great Conjunction because it involves the two largest planets in the solar system, Jupiter and Saturn. And it also happens on the 21st, on the winter solstice. And it's really a good thing because this event actually takes place not long after sunset, and it doesn't stick around for long because the planets are low in the southwestern part of the sky. This is actually the closest these two planets have been since the year 1623 AD. So this particular grouping of Jupiter and Saturn is called a Great Conjunction simply because it involves the two largest planets, and it happens about every 20 years. However, the closeness or how far separated they are varies quite a bit in that 20-year cycle. But once in a lifetime, at least for most of us, this time around, we get to see the two largest planets only 1/10 of 1 degree apart. Now, what that means in English is that it is about 1/5 the full moon width apart. So while they may not look like one individual star, they're actually going to appear almost right next to each other, which is going to be an amazing thing to see. They're going to be close enough that most telescopes will actually show both Jupiter and Saturn in the very same field of view. Now, it just so happens that the Hastings Museum will have at least one of its 12-inch telescopes out, weather permitting, on December 21st. So if you come up, and you will need to mask up and of course dress warmly, if you come out between about 5:40 p.m. and 6:25 p.m., this is the time when we will be able to see the two planets close together with a telescope. So that will be quite an amazing thing to see. It's really never been seen before in our lifetimes. So the best time to see it is going to be after sunset, of course, but not terribly long after sunset, say toward the end of dusk on the 21st. And it will last till roughly 6:25, 6:30, depending on how clear your southwestern horizon is. They will not be this close again for about another 60 years, which is why I say most of us will probably not see the next one. But in the year 2080, in March of that very year, you will see another pairing of these two stars about this close, about 1/10 of 1 degree apart. The last great conjunction occurred in the year 2000. However, we missed it because of the timing. The sun was actually quite close to the two planets at that time, which meant that Jupiter and Saturn actually set with the sun. And so we completely missed out on that one. The last one we could see would have been in the year 1980. And in 1980, the two planets came to within about 1 degree apart, which is about 2 full moon widths separation. So this time around is much closer, again, about 1/5 of 1 degree apart. So we urge you to take a look at this if you don't want to wait another 60 years to see this particular phenomenon. And that is it for Astronomy Spotlight in December. I'm Kirk Rosberg. Thank you for joining me. Join me again next month.